You guys ever jug with your life on the line?
How to scale like Kageno scaling or Kagenouscalin. So first, obviously, you need your song and you need your episode. Today, I'll be editing Dragon Ball, specifically the episode where Zamasu fuses, which is Final Judgment, Season 4, Episode 19. I'm going to put it into After Effects. I'm going to put Trips to Sax in After Effects as well because that is the song I'll be editing. If you want some songs to test for yourself, I have a playlist that I probably could put in the link, or I mean in the description or whatever. So I got my clips and I got my song. I guess I'll skip forward to when I got you know when I got everything ready. All right, now here comes the fun part. We finally get to scaling. Now you can run whatever. Well, don't run whatever FPS, but you could run 24, 23.976, which is the anime standard, which is what I'm on. You could also run 30 if you really want. You could also run 20 if you want, but 24 and 23 are really your standards. A lot of people are starting to do 20 now, but a lot of other people do not like 20, so it's really up to you which one you like. Now, for our first transition, we're actually going to be doing what my friend calls a crossfade, which is where I will put a keyframe at a frame after the start of the clip and a keyframe at the end and turn the opacity to the value 0 at the end. So it'll look like this. That's mostly what you'll get. And since I'm going to be using the same layer for both of these clips, I mean the same scale for both these clips, I'm going to use a null layer to connect. I'm going to highlight these. I'm going to hold this down. I'm going to drag it to this. Then they'll both be parented to this null layer. Instead of 250, we're doing 300 since I'm doing another zoom in. So we're gonna do this. We're gonna do adjustment layers. Adjustment layer, transform. What we're gonna do is scale, 2 frames. I'm gonna do 79 because that's a sweet spot for most scales. You don't have to copy and paste all your scales, but since I'm making a scale edit, it's just a scale edit. Sometimes that's what I do. I'm applying this graph, but you can apply this graph or this graph. Really depends on how you want it to look. Probably gonna apply. Well, yeah, I'm gonna drag this back a little bit. Drag this back a little bit as well, since this is a scale out to another scale out, so it doesn't look all stiff. Then what I'm going to do next is on the next frame, I'm going to do the same thing, but this time instead of 300, it's 250. I'm not gonna F9 this because the clip looks too short. So what I'm gonna do instead is another adjustment layer, 2 frames, scale in this time to 250 value. It'll look something like that, but I want it to be a little sharper, so I'm gonna do this. Now, recently, I've been doing 95 to 130. But you can do whatever you want. You could do 100 to 130, 95 to 130, 90 to 130. But I personally am doing 95 at the moment. My graph used to look like this, but I've been rocking with this graph right now to test it, so I'm gonna see. It looks pretty good. I'm gonna add another one of these. Zoom in. Oh, my piece is kind of going through it. Let me see. What graph did I use? We won't zoom in so hard on this clip only because it's already zoomed in hard enough. In fact, we're gonna sharpen this Twix graph. Maybe not. I might just one frame this to zoom in. Yeah, let me see. Alright, like I said from before, 95 to 130. Highlight both of them, apply this graph. There, yeah, that looks better. Okay, now I'm gonna grab the zoom out from before. I'm gonna copy it. I'm going to paste it above this layer, drag it over here. I'm gonna shorten this obviously, because now I'm putting it to what it was supposed to be like before, just 2 frames back. And then boom, and then I should get something like this. Yeah, that looks better. For this, we're gonna do 300 again. You could guess why after seeing the next scene. I'm gonna copy this layer for later. And for opacities, you don't really want them to look stiff and just look bland. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna add a scale out to them. And then that layer that I grabbed earlier, I'm gonna use it right now. And then I'm going to do another scale out since that's what it goes into. And it's gonna look something like this. Now I can low-key get away with it again. Yeah, I could get away with it again. We could, since this clip looks a little awkward and it kind of looks out of place, what you can do is you can really just fade it out. And I'll grab this over here and I'm gonna paste it to make it lean into it. There we go. And since Zamasu is like literally leaning into the clip, I'm going to add your zoom in. This time I'm gonna keep it from 100 to 30. In fact, I might even do 35 just because zooming into a fade out with 95 kind of looks awkward to me and a lot of times. So I'm gonna just keep it like that. And since he scales in again, I'm just gonna have him, or pretty much same values as before, but this time it's 30 instead of 35. Now since he goes out, I reverse the Twix to go into the scene. I'm gonna be using a scale out, or yeah, scale out ending. Then another zoom out. And then it'll look something like this. Alright, let me see. I don't think I have to do anything to this scene because it kind of like flows into each other. So, and low key, I think I might just do it again. That thing from earlier, thing with thing with thing. To do this thing. Perfect. And then oh my gosh, it's a lot of scale outs. Like this one right here. Boom. Alright, now back to the opacity things. That looks pretty good to me. I'm gonna do this. Oh yeah. And then from before, we're gonna do another crossfade. This time, we're gonna start with this clip, since it still kind of rocks the scene. And just like before, we're gonna do another null layer. Now you could really do an adjustment layer, but I'm doing the null layer just because I feel like it. Compare it like before. And this is where we do the F9 keyframe method that not Eternal has told me. Gonna F9, drag it back, 2 frames, highlight this, and then go at the end, 250, highlight these two, and put your end graph, or apply your end graph. You'll have something looking like this. I mostly do that when the clip is long enough for it, like this. When the clip's short like this, I start to think too hard if it's a long enough clip, so I don't take the chance really, and I just keep it 2 keyframes and I'll add an adjustment layer for the ending. We're gonna look from before, grab this adjustment layer. That looks yeah. And then we'll do this low key. We could do another opacity because we don't need it. And then we're gonna end with a scale in. Now, you don't have to just do scale ins, scale outs. You could do rotations as well, which is what I'll be going over next. Now, you don't really like when I'm watching this, I don't really see a scene to rotate on, but I'm gonna make a scene to rotate on just because I want to implement it into the tutorial so you guys know how to rotate correctly. One keyframe after the end if it's a short clip like this, and one at the end, or one keyframe after the start, and then at the end. I put mine at 80 or -80. You can do either or, but I mostly do it like that. Since it's at -80 for a start, into the next clip, I'll do +80 so it can look somewhat good. That looks pretty good. I like that, but it looks bad now because there's no motion tiles. So for motion tiles, yeah, we're just gonna add a bunch of motion tiles. Before we do that, we need to see pretty much most of these clips, like this one right here. I mostly do 140, 140, and mirror edges because it's a base. Oh, we have the black line problem. Okay. Well, how to fix that is you go into the pre-comp and you type in 101 for your scale value so they can disappear like that, like magic. Yeah, I think I like it. Make sure you watch over your edit multiple times to make sure you like it or not. If you don't, it's a usual thing. If you do, that's good. The reason why I say it's a usual thing if you don't like edits because a lot of editors they don't like their edits after they see them. I personally don't, but I know that it looks good most of the time, so I export it anyway and I call it a day. One thing I am forgetting is the pinch. Now, usually you want a 1 frame of pinch, but you always have to 1 frame of pinch. I can do tutorials on other things, like if you want to learn how to swirl on your jug edits, or if not swirl, then like do something like a, offset. I don't think I want to offset here, actually. I could offset. I could offset. I could offset. Just give me a second while I'm adding this pinch. Every clip doesn't need pinch, but most clips need pinch, at least in my opinion. Alright, now that I'm done the scales, here comes probably the most confusing part about a jug edit, at least in my opinion, is the shakes. Because everybody has their own preferences of shakes. You like what you like, and you don't have to care about what other people like. But if you don't like it, somebody's got to care about it. So, getting started, probably just going to use the shakes my friend Not Eternals taught me. Because he's actually the one who really taught me how to jug. Shout out to Not Eternals. It's really cool. So hold on, I'm gonna run through my settings, or his settings, and a few. Well, not his settings, because he gave me the shake and I like modified it to be my own shake, but he pretty much taught me out. So we got 1.2 on the amplitude. Frequency is 8.6. Z dist obviously 1. Motion blur check mark. Motion blur length is 0.860, and the seed is whatever you make it to be, because with the seed you want to like shift to a seed that doesn't have a heavy scene with motion blur all over it. You'll see it later, but obviously this scene doesn't have a lot of motion blur on this, or this seed doesn't have a lot of motion blur, so I'll keep it as. But this is my X shake. X shake, yeah, I said it right. This is my Y shake, and I have nothing on my Z, nothing on my tilt. That's pretty much it. You don't have to worry about channels. But I apply this graph to my shake all the time. And the second keyframe for amplitude is 0.020, and that's pretty much my shake. Now I do use different shakes for different edits if I want to test different things. Like sometimes I'll use dissolve shake. But most times I'll use my trusty S shake. And usually, I'm not gonna lie, I'll be copying and pasting the shit out this shake. But I'm not a normal copy and paster, because I'll change either the frequency, the amplitude, or the seed all the time. It'll never stay the same unless it's the same clip, which usually it isn't. We can add an offset right here. Yeah, I'll show you guys how I do my offset. Now I kind of do my offset like a rotation when the clip is small. I one keyframe after the start and one at the last, and then I move it up a few notches. I added a very sharp graph, preferably going to the bottom right with 2 points, and it looks like that. But since this looks a little strange, I'm gonna do it like this, move it back, like the zoom, like the scale out transition. I'm gonna apply a graph similar to it. Now you can see that it looks a little bit better, at least in my opinion it does. And then for this, I'm gonna keyframe at the start, keyframe at the end. I'm going to move this value up just a little bit more. That should be good. And then I'm gonna probably add like a scale out graph. I think I'm gonna move this above the motion tile because I think that looks better. And then you get this. Actually, let me move it back. Let's keep it like that. Or not. Actually, let me see. Because I can delete this. I just couldn't delete that. Actually, no. I know what. It just looks awkward to me. Oh, okay, I can do that. Now that you have your jug edit, I've gone through scales, scaling, scale out, rotation, offset. Like I said, if you want me to make a different sorrow for Twix or twist, the effect, the whip effect, I can do that as well. The pinch layer is used from Warp Style, Fisheye. I put mine at 50, negative 54, but you can put yours at 70 or 60. Negative, by the way. That's a good value. Those are good values. But now that you got your jug edit, you want to Control A, deselect the audio, pre-comp, add an adjustment layer. I'm going to use RSMB. You don't have to use RSMB, but I use RSMB because that's the way how I scale. Here's my settings. Yeah, these are my settings. I don't have these on, but yeah, these are my settings. Screenshot them if you want. But yeah, I'm gonna select these two, pre-comp again. Here comes the fun part. CC. Actually, it's not fun at all because I have very bad CC. So what I'm gonna do is, I'm going to add one of my layers from, or one of my CCs from before, and I'm just gonna look and see what it does me. If it does me justice or harm. But before I just keep on with this. That looks nice. I'm at a R1 flicker to this, but instead of just a normal R1 flicker, shout out to R1, I'm gonna tone it down to like here. Oh, and then I have a preset for glint, but I'll show you guys what it looks like in a minute because it turns time me out of glint as well. Also add vibrance to 20, 0. These are my glint settings, and boom. That's CC. It's gonna take a minute to render, so just sit back and chill, I guess. And that's actually you can do borders too. I'm gonna mess around, add some borders. For real. Yup, CC jaws. These are the settings. Keep it below the glint layer so you can have the real jug CC effect. I personally don't like mine's at 85 because it's too fast, so I put mine at 90. But that's how you jug like Kagenouscalin. I thank y'all for watching. There'll probably be some notes in the edits to keep up and stuff, and I'll probably just like, whatever. But yeah, I'm gonna export this, probably post it later, and I'll make a tutorial. Thank you for watching.
I guess it all makes sense. I never really had friends. Like losing my friends are dead. I really never gave a damn.